Growth Mastermind. I'm usually co-host with Dylan Nonaka. You're going to learn all about him today, but he's been replaced by by Andrew Romero, his good friend, and my good friend, who also heads up a great team in Northern California. Hey, Andy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How's everybody else here doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. And the objective of this Team Growth Mastermind today, Dylan's team in Hawaii, we're going to talk all about him today, was, as of right now, the number one producing team in EXP in the United States. And Team Growth Mastermind is about multiple brokerages. We have team leaders from indie brokerages, from every brokerage you can name in the country. And the whole idea is that we share what's working, what's not, so that we can help each other grow. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, I'm sure you are, but about 35% of this $100 billion industry in commissions is earned in teams. And people as famous as Tom Ferry, right now there's 35,000 teams in America. He estimates there'll be 100,000 teams in America in the next 5 to 10 years, which will mean that teams will generate well north of 50, probably 60% of gross revenue. So we're all interested in learning how do we become a greater and greater part of that. So with that kind of lengthy introduction, Andrew, let's ask Dylan some questions and just really put him on the spot. Morning, Dylan.
Good morning, guys.
So why don't we
I
start? Yeah, let's start with Dylan. Hey, how briefly did you get the team started, and how did you get to the place where you are today? It took you 20 years, right?
It was 20 years in the making, but officially the team started in January of 2019 when I actually moved to EXP. And it was just my brother and a couple of friends that came from
Wow.
other brokerages, and we really just wanted like a name that we could call ourselves. I mean, it really wasn't this big vision about building the team that we have today. And so in the beginning, just for the first really 3 years, we were just kind of a gang. We had a
Sure.
co-marketing banner that we were under. And over the course of those 3 years, I started to develop. I realized really in 2019 and 20, when it got really busy, that I was a better lead generator than I was a real estate broker. I'm a competent real estate broker, but I'm pretty good at lead generation. And so we started just generating leads and sharing them with the folks that joined us. And from a team structure standpoint, if you're familiar with the EXP team structure standpoint, we're just a self-organized team. So we didn't have any official paperwork or team agreements or anything like that. And we were just kind of doing business together, marketing together. And in late 22, I had a discussion with the kind of admin staff about becoming a mega icon team, because there were some cap benefits to the team members. And so we were already at that point in 22, we did almost 200 million. I mean, we were at like 100 million by the
Wow.
time we even started. So we didn't do it the right way. I mean, we didn't do it the traditional way, I don't think, but that's a lot of what we do is not necessarily, it's kind of against the conventional wisdom, but that's how it began. And then in I think October of 22 is when we made the transition to official mega icon team. And then the growth has just continued from there.
What's your anticipation in terms of volume this year? And let's face it, it's not the easiest market, right? So it's not like
It's
asking you in 2019 or 20. So what's your anticipation this year?
500 million.
$500
Would be,
million. It's
yeah, we
half a
did four. We
billion
did
dollars.
421 and 24, which is a 31% increase over the year before. So if we kind of stay on that clip, I mean, 500 million is definitely within reach.
And your volume last year was?
421 was 24.
Right. Okay. You just said that.
Yep.
Sorry, I just got
Yep.
distracted. So
Yep.
424. And give us an idea of what's your average sales price, Dylan, when you aggregate out over the year?
Really, the average sales price is like 480. So we sell
Wow.
everything, and so we sell $5 million houses, and we also sell $50,000 lots,
Right.
sometimes $20,000 lots. So the average sales price isn't necessarily representative of the overall business, but that's actually a really cool dynamic that we have. Is if you look at team performance across the company, we're always in like the top 5 of volume and units, and that's not necessarily the case for other teams, because the high volume teams are in areas with high price points, so your unit counts are usually lower. And then the flip side is true, where the really high unit count teams are not in the volume leaderboard because they're in really lower price point markets where they do a lot more volume. So we have that kind of healthy mix. And so, like you said earlier, we're right now for 2025, just through 21 days of January, we're number one for volume and then number two for units. So we're always kind of, in the top five, and for the last year anyways.
I think generally speaking, I don't know if you agree, but the vast majority of team leaders want to get bigger, want to grow bigger. And Andrew, we had this discussion on the last event, right? Of course, everybody wants quality of life, but we want to scale. And that's why it's so interesting. You have teams that do phenomenal volume. Perhaps they're in a very specialty market where everything's 2 million or 5 million and up, right? That's obviously a talent in itself. But the vast majority of America isn't priced there. So if we're going to go from 35,000 teams to 100,000 teams, according to Tom Ferry, if we're going to go there, that's a lot of middle America with some high-end stuff thrown in. Would you agree with that perception?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, for me personally, I've always preached to the team and my personal business. I always enjoyed the median price point business. I mean, everybody aspires to be a luxury agent and wants to be a luxury agent. And that's great. Having that business is an awesome piece of it. But to me, if you really want to grow a strong foundation, you have to just grow that regular middle America kind of price point business. And my focus always was units over volume. To me, the more units you can do, especially as a brand new agent, even if you're selling those $20,000 lots and $50,000 lots, that's a new friend that you make that can refer you new people that are a repeat client in the future. And if you really want to build a long, sustainable business, you just want to focus on doing as many possible deals as you can. And when the big ones start popping up, those are cool, but it's almost like bonus and gravy on top. It shouldn't be, a fundamental foundation of your business, because it's so volatile right now. I joke to everybody, nobody wants to be a luxury agent in our market. I mean, there's 12 months of inventory, and average days on market's like 200 days. I mean, so it's like that stuff is not selling, right? When the market gets weird and interest rates get high and people are putting their money in the stock market instead of real estate investing, like it really has an effect on that business, as opposed to the regular 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that any, fireman and a nurse can afford. Those are always going to get bought. Those folks always are upgrading, downgrading, moving. And so that's the healthiest part of the sector of the business, is always that median price point.
I think there's a huge lesson to be learned in that. So look, Dylan, when we were talking beforehand, you said, Andy, I want to talk about what not to do as a team leader. What would you say are the top 3 things for team leaders watching this? We send it out to team leaders, 7,000 or so team leaders around the country. What should you not do? What did you learn not to do building this successful team?
So the first thing is looking back, and this is lessons learned. So this wasn't like wisdom that I had going in, right? This is looking back and lessons learned.
Right.
And I think the first thing is foundationally a couple of things. One is, what do you name your team, right? I think that's a big one. Is the name is something that is going to carry on and is going to embody what it is in the future. And one of my principles in the beginning was, whatever the name is, I didn't really care. We had a kind of a group mastermind to kind of figure this thing out. I didn't want it to be about me, right? It wasn't gonna. It was easily could have been called the Nonaka team or whatever, because it was me and my brother kind of getting it started and stuff. And that was one of my things. I didn't want it to be about me. So I think that's one thing to think about, is that not being if you want something to really scale, it's got to be about other people, and they got to be able to buy into it and have ownership over it. And the name is kind of the first foundational thing in that. The other thing in connection to that, which a lot of team leaders do, which I think is a mistake, is they take MLS credit. There's so many team leaders out there that take like all the MLS credit for the production of their team, and that does a couple of different things. I mean, one, it's disingenuous because it's not you doing the work, right? I mean, you may be generating the leads and guiding the ship and stuff, but it's not you doing the work. And then it also takes away from credit that your agents deserve to build their business personally. And if you're really invested in building their business, they're going to build yours. And so that was one thing from the very beginning, is I wanted to get my MLS credit to 0 as quickly as possible, right? And give it, even in today's market, if I, the sales that I do participate in, if I co-list, like I give 100% of the credit away, because I want that new agent or that agent that I'm partnered with to build their business and credibility. Makes their ability to go in and do a listing appointment or do a buyer's consultation stronger, because they have a strong sales history. So that's another one is those, I mean, it seems like little things, but I think those are things that really psychologically hold teams back from growing. It's so much about the team leader and not about the agents, that agents leave as quickly as possible, and then it turns some agents away from ever joining. And so those are kind of two big things on the just the foundational aspects of it that I think are worth considering, right? I mean, if it's working, it's working. And some of the biggest teams in the country are named after people, and they do what I'm saying. But it's just my philosophy on growth and agent psychology.
So that leads to a great question. And it's kind of an obvious question just talking to you, is why are agents drawn to you? There's a lot of great brokerages in Hawaii. There's a lot of great teams in the islands, right? Lots of them. And yeah, big, small, indies, specialists. Why do agents come to you, and how do you attract them?
That's one of the things I'm most happy about. It makes my life really easy. Is like we don't really recruit. I've never hard recruited anybody. Pretty much everybody swims towards the ship or recruited by their friends that are already on the team. So I don't really have to sell anybody on why you should join. I mean, they're normally sold before they get here. And there's a couple of different things that happen. I think the first one is, I mean, we talk about culture and it's an overused word, but truly you got to have a culture that people want to be a part of. And again, something that kind of just happened that I wish I could take more, intentional credit for it, is in the beginning, it's my brother and I and a couple of friends, and I wanted to see them be successful. So we helped them be successful. And when new agents joined, they helped them be successful. And then when they were successful, they helped new agents become successful. And so it was this pay it forward mentality. And foundationally, one of our main foundational principles from a cultural standpoint is the abundance mindset, right? There's enough business for all of us. There's plenty of opportunity in this market. We don't view anything as a scarce resource. And so I think that is something that if you have that abundance mindset and you're somewhere else, and most brokerages, as you guys know, you've been at other brokerages, are like just hardcore scarcity mindset. I mean, in everything they do.
Yeah.
And if you see another opportunity out there, you're like, well, these people don't believe in that. It's like an easy decision for them to come and have a conversation, because a lot of times people don't think it's real. That's the hardest thing for us to get over, is they think it's like this hocus pocus, and the stuff we put on social media has to be just marketing and stuff. And then when you get to experience it, it's pretty clear that it is a real thing. And that's been an easy way to just recruit, is that people want to be a part of that. And then it's proven by results. That's the other thing, is at the end of the day,
no doubt,
people focus so heavily on business model and earning opportunities and all of these different things, right? Stock, rev share, all the stuff that the company provides, which is all cool and it's all great and I love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, most agents just want to sell a couple more houses a year. Or they want to sell the first 10 houses. And so that's something that I focus heavily on from a messaging standpoint, is you will, if you join us, you will sell more houses. Like it's math, right? I mean, it's gravity. I guarantee it's going to happen if you run our play, right? If you follow the program, you follow the scripts, you get on board our lead programs. If you do the things that we know works, you will sell more houses. So at the end of the day, that's an easy value proposition. Also, is we're going to help you sell more houses. And I have cool data. I have my slide decks open.
By the way, I'm just scribbling away here, right? So any of this that's patented or copywritten, you need to let me know right now.
None of it.
This is going to everybody, okay?
And that's the other cultural thing, is we're like completely an open book. I share everything. My team website and all of our research is a public website. Anybody can go on there and rip off our scripts and rip off our systems. Like, it's a completely open book. So none of it's proprietary. But this is a cool stat from our this past year, as I ran all the numbers against the market, right? So market wide, average transactions per agent's 1.2 transactions. On the team, it's 6. So that doesn't sound crazy, right?
Wow.
6 transactions isn't a ton. That being said, 30% of the team has been in the business less than 12 months, right? I mean, so we've added 50 new agents in the last 12 months that are new to the business. And so they're not even really in production yet, right? I mean, once they get into the flow, that number, if you take agents that are 12 plus months in the business, that number is well over 12, right? So it's like that we're selling a lot of houses per agent, and so that's a big one.
How many agents, bud? How many agents?
We're at 154 right now. So a third of them, like 53 of them are within the first 12 months.
Provide enough support, because as I found out, when you bring in a new agent, they require a lot of time. As you bring in more agents, it's more to support. You keep providing enough support, because I mean, it's time consuming, right? Like helping them through their deals, helping them stay motivated. What are those systems you have in place as you've grown? Because in my experience, it's different from 5 to 20 agents, what's it like going from 20 to 150 and still keeping those systems in place and valuable to these people that are on your team?
It's been a painful evolution. So that's definitely the case.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot along the way.
But it's a quick
One of
evolution, buddy, since
Yeah.
2019. I mean, that's like that in evolutionary terms.
I'm over here getting inspired. Like this is the third year of my mega team. It's like, oh man, are we gonna hockey stick like Dylan? How do we do it? You know what I mean?
That's why we do Team Growth Mastermind. People
That's
genuinely
right.
want to know. And I like it because you're not a bragger guy. You're just like, hey, this is what we do. So answer the question.
Okay, this might be a little bit of a long answer because there's a bunch of
Okay.
different aspects to it. One of it is who, not how. And one of the blessings in my life is my wife, and she's been completely supportive of the business
She's
forever. And
amazing,
then,
Andrew. She is just, yeah,
well,
trust me, I've
Andrew's
seen
met
it
her
in
too.
action.
Andrew's met her too. But she was a fourth grade teacher for 16 years, and in 2021 she gave up her career and joined us full time. She's not an agent, but she runs onboarding and agent training, and she's basically built systems for fourth graders, right? And it's like that's really effective when it comes to real estate agents. And so she took all of the crazy stuff that I had kind of put together that was a mess for years and consolidated it, made it simple, brought that beginner mindset to it, and really asked questions and broke stuff down and made sense to a beginner. Because that's one of the curses that we have, is if you've been in the business for a while and you've been successful, where you see things and the way you operate at is at a totally different level than a beginner. And sometimes the stuff that we try and give to a beginner makes no sense, and because we have too much context, and you really have to break it down. So that's a big one, is having the right person to view the systems through that lens and view the resources through that lens. And then the other huge piece of it, and this is another do not thing to do for leaders that I've learned, is you have to have a split structure that encourages retention. And this is another thing that is a huge benefit to our team, is that we have extremely high retention among senior agents. And so what that does is create a whole layer of support that you don't necessarily have to hire staff for, or have really expensive resources, because now you have this generation of senior agents who serve as mentors, who serve as leaders, who serve as trainers, who are just a resource that new agents can go to. And because of that culture of pay it forward, you can really reach out to any new agent can reach out to any senior agent and ask them to do a ride along for showing property, or go to an open house with them, or just serve as a trainer to them, or ask them how they make their Instagram reels, or whatever they do at a high level. That resource is available. And that's really helped spread the labor of bringing on new agents. Is like, it doesn't fall on like, an onboarding team or a training team or a sales director or somebody like that, where we have those roles and we have those responsibilities, but we have a much larger group of people that help those folks. And that's been a big one. And we just really leaned hard into, especially when I first got started, everybody was pretty new. I mean, the agents that came with us to the company, I mean, my brother and I were a couple of kids that nobody heard of. And so we weren't going to attract high producing agents. I mean, this was, it's basically our friends who were just getting into the business. So everything we did from day one was geared towards how do we help a new person become successful quickly. And so the team was founded on that, basically, and it's just grown from there. And we've added new things over the years. And now the systems look really complex and plentiful, but it didn't start that way. It started with, I tell this story all the time, it started with a Google Doc that went through the purchase contract paragraph by paragraph and had notes on what you write in each paragraph. And that was a thing I could give a new agent and say, hey, here's how you write a contract. And it was for me. I built that for me personally when I was a brand new agent. It was a doc that I just worked off of so I could more efficiently and quickly write a purchase contract. And that was a thing. That was a resource number one that we had, where sometimes that's all a new agent needs, is like, how do I write a purchase contract? Here's a document that walks you through it, and that was it.
There's some questions that are flying through my mind when you say this, right? So you said at the beginning, the abundance mentality, or that was like 5 minutes or so ago. I got to ask you a quick question on that. So all the real estate offices I've been in, I mean, it's pushing towards 40 years. I hate to tell you that. And the one thing that I predominantly remember is going into team meetings and everybody's like this, right? And they're holding to their chest that last lead they got, and they almost sort of like look at it like this and like playing poker in case somebody sees the name and number. That's not an abundance mentality. It's like, I got this client, I got to keep them, right? obviously you've overcome that. Just from a really practical point of view, is that because partially, or what percentage is it because you've such a good lead generator that the agents on your team know that if they come to you, you're going to share that abundance with them and they can build, right? Or
Mhm.
is it because they're just extraordinary people and day one they do 5 open houses a week and get their own leads? I'm being a little sarcastic there, but
Yep.
the truth is somewhere in the middle there, right? What is it with you?
I would say for the most part, new agents rely heavily on team provided leads.
Right.
So that's going to be true no matter what. But what I've found is, and this is actually a pain point of mine, is that, we'll take a brand new agent, they'll do 10, 15 transactions their first year, 90% of it will be team provided business. And then year two, they'll do the same thing, and then they'll do 5 or 10 more transactions based on their personal business. And then by year three, like they don't need us anymore. Like they're just off to the races, and they're so confident, and they're so competent at doing the business that they don't need the team provided leads anymore, which is great. We want that to happen.
Yeah.
But then it creates the need to bring on new agents to work that business. Because
Yeah.
one of my challenges is like, and I state this publicly, I do Instagram posts about all this all day, is like, we don't have enough agents to take all the leads that we get. I mean, there's like truly an abundance. Like if you want to come and be busy on day one, I mean, we got some training programs. We got to put you through some onboarding and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, we can put you in front of leads immediately. We
If
generated
I join
17.
if I join you today, how long before you let me take a lead?
It depends on our schedule for our boot camp. So we do the boot camp about every 6 weeks. So if you join,
Okay.
Today and it's 6 weeks later, you might have to wait. But there's plenty of stuff you can do in between. So yeah, but pretty quickly. I mean, I like to try and get. This is another foundational principle, is a culture of it's okay to fail. Is building a culture of it's okay to fail. And a lot of agents are very, as you guys know, this business is a business built upon failure, right? It's a business upon, a 10% close rate at best in most cases.
Yeah.
And so if you're not, if you can't embrace that you're going to show 10 houses and nobody's going to buy one, and the 10th one is the one that somebody's going to buy, and you quit on 8, you never get to the 10th one. And so early on, that's something that we foster in new agents. Is like, hey, we're going to put you on the phone and in the car with people as soon as we possibly can. And you are going to be terrible at it. You're going to screw it up. You are going to fail. And it's okay. We're going to help you through that. We're going to give you more training. I'm going to fix stuff. If, something really bad that happens, my job is to come in and fix those things and help you through those things. And so it creates a culture of people not being afraid to go out there and do the business. And that's the hardest thing, I think, in the beginning for a new agent, is they're so apprehensive about, am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get my hand slapped? Am I going to get in trouble? Whatever it is. I
think new agents just want to get busy. They just want to get out there. They want to do stuff. And most brokerages just throw them out in an open house. Look, I'm a big open house fan personally. I've enjoyed them for years. I think it's changed culturally a bit, right? But they want to get busy, so you provide that business. You said something earlier. You said they'll do well if they run our play. I got it written down right here, so you did say it, so don't deny it. It's right. You said run our play. So if I met you at floor 1 and we're going up, well, I won't say Trump Tower because it depends on what your politics is, but you're going up a tower, okay? And we got 25 floors, and it's like 3 seconds a floor or whatever. What's your play? Tell me your play. Hey, Dylan, I heard about you and your success, and I'm in another brokerage and I really want to just grow. I did 5 deals last year, and I heard about you talking about this play. What's your play? What do you mean when you say run a play? Bing, 25th floor.
So it starts with, we have an onboarding handbook that's like 37 pages long. So it's big. It's a lot of stuff, but it takes you step by step through how to set up. Phase 0 is setting up your business before you even have a license. All the stuff you should do: have a tax license, have a bio, have a headshot, right? Simple stuff like that. Phase 1 is stuff as soon as you get your license, onboarding to all the systems that you need access to, and you need to be trained on in order to actually write contracts and do the business. And then phases 3 and 4 are working with your mentor, actually going out there and doing the business with as a ride along, right seat, left seat. And then 4 is kind of going off on your own and doing those things on your own. So it takes you through really step by step everything you got to do. And I've seen agents get through this. It seems like a lot of stuff, but I've seen agents get through it in 7 days. Some of them take 30 days. But if you actually go through that and check every single box and do every single thing, as soon as you get done, you are very ready to go out there and do business. It requires practice purchase contracts, different standardized trainings that we have throughout the week and that are available via video. So that's the first thing, is that tells me that you are serious about the business and you want to get busy. If you do those things, then we put you on lead programs. And when we put you on the lead programs, you know what the play is, right? You've read the playbook, you know exactly what the scripts are, you got to use, what the resources you got to reference are. And so that's it. I mean, really, that's it, is you get through that, and then we put you on the phone and get you in front of people, and you start doing the business. And it's going to be rocky in the beginning. But the biggest piece of the play, which agents have to be dedicated to, is you got to give it 2 or 3 months, right? I mean, I've seen agents that struggle for the first, they do everything right. They do everything right for 2 or 3 months, and they're really getting discouraged. And then in month 4, they get 3 escrows. In month 5, they get 2 more. And then, so then the business goes, it's like the hockey stick, right? But it's like the ones that give up 60 days in, some of them get lucky and they get an escrow right out the gate, right? And they're motivated. But for the most part, it's the ones, and I've seen this tale over and over and over again, where it's like they're really getting discouraged. And so a big piece of the play that's important from an agent standpoint is you got to be able to put in a full-time effort for 3 to 6 months to really see the results. And you guys know this, right? I mean, that's
no, but it's great. It's great information. On all that training that you do you have a learning management system, a video platform where you can see who's open? No.
We're building it right now, but no, we don't. Okay. I mean, it's pretty much Google Docs, and then we have plenty of engagement throughout the week. That's the other thing, is in addition to just like the video stuff and the stuff that's digital, throughout the week we have, and this is I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I'm always getting these aha moments, right? And I think a really foundational thing that you gotta have as a team, or that is a predictor of success. And this is something that there's a conventional wisdom against, is we don't like meetings, right? I hate meetings. I don't want to come to meetings. I hear you tell me that. I don't want to come to meetings all the time. We have tons of meetings, and that I think is a direct contributor to growth and success. Is we have the availability every single week, multiple times a week, pretty much 5 days a week, for an agent to plug in and get help with something that they need. So
in person or on Zoom?
On Zoom. It's all Google Meets, because we got agents on 4 islands. So I mean, us being able to get together happens once a year. Andrew was our keynote at our last event. He's an opening speaker at our last event. So about once a year we can bring everybody together. But throughout the week we have in Monday mornings, we have an Ask the TCs Anything meeting. So if you have any type of transactional question, sky slope question, systems question, we have an expert TC team that manages 500 transactions a year, and they're available to answer questions. Then we have a transaction meeting. So if you have a transaction, you get a 10-minute time slot to come and talk about your transactions, touch base. I sit in on those meetings. If you have a broker question, I can answer those questions and help you. At 10 a.m., we call it our Team Foundations meeting. This is for agents in their first 1 to 90 days, where we cover foundational things that you need to know how to use in terms of resources and things like that. And it's kind of open forum. So if you have a question that you're afraid to ask in a bigger meeting, you can ask those questions and we work through it. It's group learning, right? The challenges that an agent's facing on day 30, the agents that are in day 1 are going to come up against those challenges, and they can hear it from somebody else, and we can talk it through and help them. At 11, we have our CRM meeting. So every week, Monday at 11, we go through using KV Core and Follow Up Boss. So agents have knowledge on how to do that. We give them updates. We give them strategies, tips, tricks. When we see an agent doing something really well, we have them share at that and tell everybody else what they're doing, like what they did during New Year's to get a bunch of responses from stuff like that. So that happens just on Monday. There's 4 solid meetings on Monday where it's before noon. You can be highly engaged.
How many total meetings a week?
So there's those 4. Tuesdays we have a scripts meeting where we role play and we do scripts. On Wednesday is our main sales meeting. That's everybody attends from all the islands, and that's 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. On Thursdays we do an in-person meeting once a month at one of the locations. So I'll fly to another island, or we'll drive across the island. So there's always an in-person once a month at all the different locations. And then Fridays we do an attraction call. So if you have somebody who's interested in joining, I help you either schedule a meeting to talk with me on it, or give you scripts and strategies on how to talk to them. We talk about the brokerage and the team, and coach folks up on attraction. So that's the recruiting effort, basically.
Look, we're coming up on time. I'm not hurrying you because I'm not interested. Yep. I could talk to you for hours. Let me ask you this. Would you be generous enough to share your calendar, and in this promo that we do to all these team leaders, we actually show them what your calendar is in the description?
It's page 1 on our team resources website, and if anybody, all the links are public. If you want to be a fly on the wall and log in and join one of them, you're absolutely welcome.
Give us how to get there, brother, because everybody online is going to want this, so we're going to put it in the promo.
Theagencyteamhawaii.com.
Hey, Dylan. So, out of curiosity, as I know this is a small to medium team issue that I've had. So, you're scaling your program, you're sending people through the training. They're not selling houses. It's not going great for them. One,
Great
it's kind of a
question.
two-part question. One, what's your first step to jump in and try to help? And number two, let's say it's gotten a little further down the road. Let's say they're a few months in, they still haven't sold anything. Maybe they're getting a little negative to some other people on the team, perhaps. What's your steps to going about helping that people and maybe like solving that issue?
I honestly don't put a lot of time and energy into that. I mean, it's like all the opportunity is there. And let me be transparent, right? Yes, we added 54 people last year, but like 38 left, right? So, I mean, it wasn't, there was a net gain. But
Yeah, I love that transparency. Yeah.
And I did the analysis because I got to learn as a leader, right? Like why did these 38 people leave? And the breakdown was, I have it right here. So the breakdown was, there was basically two categories of people, two general categories of those 38. 20 of them were people who joined and never engaged. For whatever reason, they thought it was a great idea. We did the onboarding, they joined and then did nothing, right? I mean, you guys all have experiences with team members, right? Never attended anything, never did the onboarding, just never engaged, and then sooner or later they just wash out, right? Just go away.
Yeah.
And then 18 of them had a mix of reasons, right? They move out of the state. They, for whatever reason, they want to change a brokerage. I mean, whatever it is, there was a mix of those people. Of those people, 16 of them were on a lead program, right? So like received leads from the team and experienced the full opportunity that the team provides. My biggest takeaway from this experience and looking back was, in almost every single case, and this was a heartbreaking experience, right? Is part of our team offboarding is we give you a spreadsheet of all the leads that you received. And we say, hey, highlight the ones that you want to keep. And, we'll let you take them. Like we will let you take the leads as long as you pay us the old referral when they come back. Abundance mindset, right? It's like, I'm not going to make this hard on you. Like I want the client to be served. If you have a relationship with them, please continue to work with them. And almost every single case that people are leaving say, I don't want any of them. I'm just leaving. Right. Which tells me you never
similar
even tried.
Experience.
Similar. You never, if you think you're going to get that opportunity somewhere else, or it's going to be easier somewhere else. And I had this discussion at the team meeting last week was, it doesn't matter what brokerage you're in, right? It doesn't matter what system you're in. The work it takes to be successful is the same. It's really 100%. A matter of how much opportunity do you 100%. Get to put that work in, right? And so I think people think there's going to be an easier way somewhere else. I mean, somebody told me they wanted to leave because they wanted to go to a brokerage that had a office in a shopping center that could potentially get walk-in business. And I'm like, that kind of stopped being a thing in the 90s. Like if somebody's selling you on that being the value proposition,
that was
like,
my era.
I mean,
it just becomes another lead in the database, right? Like it's just another name in the database that you're not going to call, right?
Right. And I was like, hey, just make sure you do the analysis, right? How many opportunities a week do you get to sit at that desk? How many people on average walk in? And what is the close rate on those people? Like know what that is before you commit to that being your business plan, right? Because I can tell you.
But guys, people just get stuff in their head, and they think, Andrew, your question was really good. What I really see from Dylan is this, when I see Dylan, I see this, not in like a mean way, but he actually said to you, I can't remember his words exactly, but it was almost like whatever happened to them, whatever. He still examined why they left, but he's looking at who's absorbing, who's doing the course, who's buying the plan. Let's make them great. Because Andy, we can spend so much time, and we've got to kind of wrap it up. I'll tell you, years ago, I started a church with like 3 people in my home. It grew to 1,000 people, right? And you look at every person who leaves, it's like, oh my gosh, maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I did this wrong. And the people who are actually there are saying, could you please stop thinking about them and just help us? That's why we're here. Yeah, and that was a huge life lesson for me, Andrew.
I think that's, and I don't know if this is true, that both you guys right now, I'll interview both you guys. For me, I've noticed a trend. And my team's smaller than both of you guys, but every time we've had a person leave or we've had to let them go, it's all but one time, and this is a true fact, all but one time, they're the people on the bottom. Like they're the people that are not producing, not engaging. One time we lost an agent who just really wanted to go out by themselves. Maybe I'll learn some lessons with Dylan. We brand Romero team, right? So like, so is that a similar experience to you guys? That usually it's the people from the bottom that want to leave. How often are you losing top agents?
Yeah, 100%. Look, Dylan, got to do this again soon. I'm looking forward to co-hosting the next one with you. We've got a great lineup for this year. By the end of this year, we'll have met, great people across the country, right? I really enjoy this, encouraging other people. It's been a huge theme of my life, and we just heard from you. It is your life. You're an encourager, you're a motivator, you're a very strong individual. We appreciate you. Andrew, thank you for co-hosting today. Dylan, appreciate it. Do you want to give
Thanks, sir.
any plug at the end, mate? That we'll put everything in the description, but I don't think you just want to draw people's attention to a book you've written, or if you haven't written a book, I'd like to interview you and let's write a book about you. But for right now, what can we plug? That's
Just follow me on IG, Kona Broker on IG. I try and post every single day some type of advice, business advice, whether it be motivation or tactical. And that is also just a good, I think, example. Rip off and duplicate, guys. Everything that I do, I try and learn from somebody else's mistakes or wins. And from a marketing and attraction standpoint, that has been one of the strongest assets that we have. Is
right.
My philosophy on social media has been recently that I'm going to be your broker, your team leader, your leader before we ever meet. And it makes really
I love that.
attraction easy, because they know what they get, right? When you come in, when you actually end up meeting with me, like it shouldn't be your first flavor of who I am and what my philosophies are. And if that doesn't align with you, you never do the meeting in the first place, and it makes those meetings a lot more efficient and easier. So
You hear that, Andrew? I'm going to be your leader before you even join the team. That's
amazing.
a
Hey,
pathway to finish. We
when you see
appreciate
his
you.
operation in Hawaii, it's real easy to know why it's successful, I think.
So look, my wife is basically angry with me every week that I did not come to that event. So next year, I'm going to sit in the back row with a notepad, and I'm going to have my iPhone on recorder, and I'm going to be there, brother. Okay.
and you're going to speak at it. So I'm going to give you the dates here shortly. I think we should have the dates set up here shortly. So plan
Appreciate
on
you
it.
both. I'm indebted to you both. Have an absolutely stunning year. Okay. Look forward to chatting again soon.